All right, picture this. It's the last Sunday of May 2024. It's dark, it's cold outside, and me and my wife have a 4-hour drive back from Toronto. We were just at a real estate conference all weekend, and we were friggin' inspired. While I was driving, my wife, she had her phone out, pulled up Realtor, started swiping through listings, rapid fire. We needed to let our agent know that we were on the hunt for a property ASAP. We were looking for a house to buy, and this time we were gonna flip it. We talked to our realtor the very next day, and we told her we were looking for a fixer-upper, and we were looking to pick it up for cheap. I told her that it didn't really matter how rough the house was, as that would just leave more room for potential upside, which meant more room for profit. If the price was right, then we could make it work. I should probably mention that it wasn't just us looking for a new project. We had family, friends, business partners that were also looking to take on the project with us. And we really liked that idea because that means we could split the down payment, we could cut the renovation bills in half, and we would only have to do half of the work. So we were two couples and we were refreshing MLS every 20 minutes for like weeks on end. We scheduled some showings and we checked out 1 to 2 properties per week. For the most part, the houses that we were seeing, they were pretty good to go and they would definitely do for a flip, but the price was just not justifiable paying what they were asking. We needed to buy a house for as cheap as possible, put in a reasonable amount of work, and then of course sell it for as much as possible. All of us, this was our first time flipping a house, but we did happen to know that most of the money to be made was actually done at the purchase price at the beginning of the project. And then as for the selling price, well, that's an easy one because I could just look up comparables in the area with the same quantity of bedrooms and bathrooms, and then it would be reasonable to assume that my flip project would go for about what those houses were selling for. And then in June, we had a property pop up on the portal, and this one looked interesting. This one was listed as a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and there were 4 exterior photos. What's super funny is that all those 4 exterior photos were just pretty much the same photo from a slightly different angle. And because there was no interior photos of this property, we knew that it was gonna need a ton of work. It also had the words "needs TLC" in the description, which I think is absolutely hilarious. I think a listing like this one would scare off most amateur investors or mom and pop landlords. So for that reason, we needed to jump on this thing as soon as possible. We ended up getting a showing the very same day that it went live on the MLS. It had been live for maybe 1 or 2 hours before we stepped foot in that door. And we were so excited to see what it looked like on the inside of that house. As soon as we stepped foot in the front of that door, we knew that we were in for a treat. There were no light fixtures throughout the house, and there were very few outlets. I think the only lights that were already there were just kind of the ones at the bottom of a little ceiling fan, which was just completely inadequate. The corners of the floors were all peeling up, and it's reasonable to assume that this was from water damage. The kitchen, that was a pretty interesting room in the house. There was pretty good storage throughout the cabinets, but there was live wires exposed underneath there, and there was like a washer and dryer, but no fridge to be seen. It was kind of weird, but overall, it was actually pretty decent. The bathroom was the worst room in the house by far. I would go as far as saying that it was in complete shambles. Not only was there no flooring, there was like 2 layers of subfloor. One of them was half ripped up. It looked like someone had started a renovation but got really nowhere with it. It had one of those jacuzzi tubs, but it was completely exposed. The motor and the pump were right there, and the jets were all right there, and it was all wide open, and water could just get in there and ruin the whole thing. It was an absolute wreck of a bathroom. Upstairs, there was a few bedrooms. They were also in really rough shape. One of them had no flooring at all, and it just reeked like cat litter, dog pee. The vibe was just really disgusting up there. But that's okay because that's kind of expected when you're buying a house at this price point. Overall, the house needed quite a bit of work, but it was nothing that we couldn't handle. We all agreed that if we're gonna be competitive on this thing, we gotta make an offer really quickly. And we really like our agent. She must have just gone right to the office, booted up her laptop, and got started on the offer right away. Again, we were looking to be competitive, so we basically put no conditions on the house. That's not entirely true. We did ask for a second visit in 3 days' time from now. It was at that time that we booked a home inspector to check the whole house out. And then as for financing the property, that's an easy one. There was really no need to get a bank involved, as we were just gonna split the house in half and pay for it in cash. And because of all this, we offered $30,000 under asking. And to save you some time, I'll just say that the offer was accepted at $30,000 under asking. After the home inspection happened, that's when our friends started getting super hesitant, and it looked like they did not want to go forward with the deal. But it was too late at that point, and we had the offer accepted, and we were basically committing to buy this house as we didn't have any conditions. Yeah, they ended up backing out of the deal. We were super surprised, as we had ran the numbers probably 50 times, and there was no reason why we were walking away with less than $100,000. It seemed like the best deal ever. And me and my wife still wanted that profit, so we continued forward without them. And this is where it gets a little tricky, because we were gonna pay cash for this house. We had put the closing day at only like 30 days away from when we made the offer. But now that they've backed out, we needed that whole sum of money, and we did not have that. We did need to get a mortgage, but there was no way we were gonna get a mortgage within 30 days time. So this was probably the first major crisis that we faced. But again, we were super sure on the numbers, and we stood to make a serious amount of money. So we hit up all of our friends and family, and we ended up pulling it off. We are so happy to have all of our friends and family that are just so supportive of us and still trusted us with this deal and to make it happen. I've never flipped a house before, and I've never recorded any sort of videos like this, so I'm really excited for everyone to follow along and check out the updates as they happen. If you think this is something that you would want to check out, well, then stick around, as progress is being made like pretty much every day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next update. Peace.